What's baking eats floors? Oh, just ube cinnamon rolls, because I am ready to stuff myself with sweets for the winter. These are sticky, gooey cinnamon rolls with that ube touch. Oh my gosh, where's my coffee? It's so good with coffee. Welcome to Jeanelleats, where you get to taste the flavors of the world in your kitchen. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can get reminded of the weekly delectable treats that I whip up in this channel. Oh, and hit that like button while I get our yummy dessert started. First things first, add in 4½ cups of all-purpose flour, followed by 2½ teaspoons of instant dry yeast, 1/3 cup of sugar, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Make sure the salt does not make direct contact with the yeast. Mix all the dry ingredients together and then add 2 large eggs at room temperature. Mix that all up, then slowly add 1 cup of room temperature milk, or just until all the flour has been picked up. Use your judgment to see if you need more or less milk. Then we're gonna add 1/3 cup of room temperature butter. You can use melted butter, but make sure it's not scorching hot or else it'll kill your yeast. Now we're just gonna knead this dough until it's very smooth. You can do this by hand, but I prefer to use my stand mixer because it's a lot faster. It should take my mixer about 7 to 12 minutes to fully knead, but I always keep a close eye on it. All right, my dough looks smooth, but to make sure that it's been properly kneaded, I'm gonna take this piece of dough and then I'm going to stretch it out. If it forms a translucent film like this before it breaks apart, that is our sign that it's done kneading. Now I'm gonna scrape the dough off the edges of the bowl, cover the bowl, and now we're gonna let this rest until it's doubled in size. So now we're gonna work on our filling. We're gonna start with 1/2 cup of brown sugar and then 1/4 cup of room temperature butter. You can mash this together with a fork or you can use a hand blender. And then we're gonna add our special ingredient. So we're gonna put in some ube halaya, aka ube jam, and I'm gonna put in about 1½ cups. And then this isn't ube cinnamon rolls without the cinnamon, so we're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. And then finally, I'm gonna add a pinch of salt to bring out more flavor. Oh, I almost forgot, we're gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of ube extract to bring in more of that ube flavor. And then just mix this all together until it's smooth. Okay, perfect. Now we're gonna set this aside. Hey, if you are loving this ube cinnamon roll recipe, I have a digital cookbook with 15 bread recipes that I developed. Do you wanna get one? If you do, I'll put a link in the description below. Check it out. Okay, back to our recipe. Okay, has that doubled in size or what? Now what you're gonna do is put flour across your work surface. And then take out your dough so that we can roll it out. And then put a little more flour on top so it doesn't stick to your rolling pin. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll it out into a big rectangle. Man, how come every time I wanna roll out a circle, I get a rectangle? And then when I wanna roll out a rectangle, I get a circle. Once you've got it rolled out, it's time to spread the filling. So originally I tried this recipe without the butter and the sugar added, just the ube jam, but it was so hard to spread. And so I decided to add in the butter so it's a lot more spreadable. And then spread the filling all over your dough, making sure to leave some space on one of the longer sides. This is so that we can seal it up properly. You may or may not need to use up all your filling. It depends on how big you rolled out your dough and how much filling you want to put inside. All right, and then do your best to roll this up. Oh, I hope I left enough space for this to seal. All right, to be safe, bring up the edges and pinch to seal. If you keep rolling it up all the way, the filling might go to the edges and it'll be really hard to seal this dough. All right, perfect. Whoa, this is a fat one. So the middle's a little bit fatter than the edges, so just try to stretch this out so it's an even size. It's so long, I don't have space on my cutting board. Do your best to cut it into 12 even pieces. You can eyeball it or you can use a ruler. Okay, now take these guys and separate them because they might merge together again while you're preparing your baking pan. Now take a big baking dish like this and make sure you grease it thoroughly with either butter or oil. This is a 9x13 baking pan. You need a size like this or larger because these rolls need room to grow. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you would have seen the epic fail rolls that I made because I put it in a container that was too small. Now arrange your rolls as best you can. Make sure you don't overcrowd them too much. I have to work kind of fast because it's kind of hot in here and you can see that they're getting super puffy. Perfect, now cover this with a large unscented plastic bag or plastic wrap and we're gonna let it rise for maybe 30 to 45 minutes, or when I poke it, it only springs back halfway. At this rate in this hot kitchen, it's probably only gonna take like 30 minutes. While we wait for that, we're gonna work on our frosting. For this luscious cream cheese frosting, we are gonna be using one of these 8-ounce packs of cream cheese. Make sure it's softened at room temperature. After that, we're gonna add 1/3 cup of softened butter, a pinch of salt, and then we're gonna add 2 teaspoons of ube extract. I'll give you guys a link in the description below to show you the ube extract that I use. Mix this all up. All right, and then finally, we're gonna add 2 cups of powdered sugar. Now make sure you sift your powdered sugar because it'll just make the mixing a lot easier. And there we have it. This is our ube cream cheese frosting. Okay, so now set this aside. Okay, here are our rolls. They are poofy, but we are gonna do one last thing before we throw them in the oven. We're gonna pour 1/2 cup of coconut cream all across these rolls. I found this trick at another blog called Tastes of Lizzie T, and this was her trick for having ooey gooey cinnamon rolls, and I've been using it ever since. Okay, perfect. Now these are ready to go in the oven. We're gonna bake them at a preheated oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 degrees Celsius. Bake these guys for about 20 to 25 minutes or until the tops are golden brown. Oh, it looks so good. I'm so tempted to add my cream cheese frosting on it now, but make sure you wait for these rolls to fully cool before you add it on top. Otherwise, it's gonna be a melted mess. Okay, our rolls have finally cooled and it's time to spread the cream cheese frosting on top. Here are our glorious cinnamon rolls. They look so good. Tell me in the comments, how many of these ube cinnamon rolls do you think you can eat? I highly recommend enjoying these with strong coffee or strong tea. That's it, my peeps. I know it does take some time to wait for it to rise, but it's so worth it. And other than that, the recipe is pretty simple. And if you make this at home, let me know. I love seeing your successful bakes. Again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so that you can get alerted of my weekly videos so that we can see each other again every week. And with that, I will see you guys in next week's video. Bye!